Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining the Introduction to MedDRA APIs to Non-IT Professional webinar. API is a new IT tool that the MSSO is offering. The unique part of API is that it is intangible to us non-IT folks. We can't see it and we can't touch it, but we are the beneficiaries of API. It is designed to make our life easier. So let's find out what API is and how to take an advantage of it. A few housekeeping items. If you can see the slide and hear me, you are perfectly okay to follow the webinar. If you would like to ask questions, please use the question pane on the right-hand side of your screen. And you should see a panel looks like this, and the question pane is circled in red. If you don't see the panel, click on the little white arrow that my mouse is pointing at, and that should bring out the panel. And just a note, I updated the slide deck so it is different from the slides posted on MedDRA.org registration page. So please feel free to download the updated slides from the handout pane that's part of your panel as well. Feel free to submit questions during my presentation. We will have a Q&A at the end. So first, let me introduce myself and our webinar facilitator. I'm Dr. Anna Zhao Wang. I'm the Deputy Director of the MSSO. I'll be the instructor for today's webinar. Our facilitator is Ms. Liz Thomas. Liz will monitor the question pane throughout the webinar. And because Liz would like to stay mysterious, so I don't have a photo of Liz on the slide. This and next are two standard slides in all of our training courses. This one tells us that MedDRA was developed by the ICH, MedDRA Maintenance and Support Services Organization, the MSSO, is overseen by an ICH MedDRA Management Committee. Members of the committee are from regulatory authorities and pharmaceutical industry. MedDRA is owned by ICH, and all MSSO training materials are owned by ICH as well. Here is the ICH disclaimer and copyright statement. You are welcome to use our training materials. Please be sure to acknowledge the ICH copyright at all times while using the MSSO materials in your own presentation. Here are our topics for today. Hopefully by the end of this webinar, the why, the what, the how, and the where questions will be answered. Specifically, we want to address why should my organization consider using MedDRA APIs? What are APIs? And how can my organization use MedDRA APIs? And where do I find information about MedDRA APIs? We'll use poll everywhere for polling questions. They are an important part of the webinar. Let's follow the steps described on the slide to get ourselves ready for polling questions. If you have a Poll Everywhere app on your phone or laptop, please use the app. If you don't have the app, please open an internet browser on your laptop, PC, or your mobile device. In the browser, type in pollev.com in the URL field. And Liz is going to do it together with all of us so that I don't go too fast. So after entering the pollev.com in the URL field, you should see a screen asking for username. Then type in MedDRA F388 for username. That's MedDRA F388. Then click Join. If you are asked for your name, click Skip because the voting is 100% anonymous. Now we should be ready. And since we can't have a round of introduction of ourselves in the webinar format, I would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself through the first 3 questions. So let's take a look at the first question. Okay, so the first question is, where are you today? Click on the map where you are located. So the map should be activated.
I've clicked my response, but it's not showing up.
Okay, so let me just do a quick go around, see if, let's go back. Oh, there you go. Very good. Looks like many of us have succeeded with the getting to the Poll EV app or site. And if you have trouble getting there, there's a step-by-step instruction in the chat pane where you can follow and repeat that 3 steps. Okay, so it looks like we have a number of us from the United States, Europe, and Asia as well. Welcome. So let's go to our next question. What do you use MedDRA for? Do you use MedDRA for coding? Do you use MedDRA for data retrieval analysis? Or do you use MedDRA for software development or something else? And multiple selections are allowed. So let me activate the question. So Liz, I think you have selected, it's not showing the...
No, it's not showing.
It's weird. So let me do the same thing again. Looks like I have to go back in to see the results. It's strange. Okay, very good. It looks like majority of us use MedDRA for coding, and we have a few for data retrieval analysis and software development. And then we have something else. Well, to understand about the something else, I have a follow-up question. So if you selected something else, please enter, this is an open-ended question. You can just type in what the something else is. So we get an understanding of that. So let me activate it. I don't know why this, for everywhere it's behaving strange today. Okay, database management, very good. Work, of course, thank you. Well, thank you for your input. Regardless which area we use MedDRA for, we need tools to help us to do our job. So, why should my organization consider using MedDRA APIs, which are a tool as well? Well, as a MedDRA subscriber, you have access to tools that are offered by the MSSO free of charge. These tools are helpful to code verbatim terms with MedDRA, like encoding, and to analyze MedDRA coded data, like in data retrieval and analysis. We have a good number of tools in our toolbox. There are 3 browsers: the WBB web-based browser, the MDB MedDRA desktop browser, and the MMB MedDRA mobile browser. We also have MVET MedDRA version analysis tool, WebCR MedDRA change request tool, and SSA MedDRA self-service application. So let's do a quick overview to remind ourselves some functions in these tools. Here's a screenshot of web-based browser. So users can browse MedDRA tree structure on the left-hand side panel. Users can also search MedDRA by keywords in the middle panel. Here I typed in COVID vaccine, VACCIN, and I got 2 terms, 2 LLTs, COVID-19 vaccination and revaccination with a different COVID-19 vaccine. Now, this is the basic search function. And we also have advanced search function in the middle panel. So if any of you are interested in the advanced search function, let us know. I can do a live demo at the end of this webinar. And if we select a term either in the middle panel or the left panel, then we get the term details on the right panel. So I selected the COVID-19 vaccination, and the right panel shows the term name, code, currency, and where the term is in the MedDRA hierarchy, as well as the term's association with SMQ. Also in the web-based browser, we have analytical functions. The first one is the SMQ analysis function. This function helps you to retrieve potential cases of selected SMQ topics in your dataset. We also have the hierarchy analysis function. This function helps you to view your data from either the primary SOC perspective or primary and secondary SOC perspective. So let's take a look at the MVAT tool. In the MVAT tool, users can generate a version report of any two versions of MedDRA. Here I selected the 20.0 as the starting version and 24.0 as the ending version. So if I click on this Run Version Report button, the MVAT will give me a report of the delta between the two versions. The MVAT also has the data impact report function, and this one would identify the impact of changes between two selected versions on users' dataset uploaded to MVAT. The third function the MVAT offers is the search term change. This is a very comprehensive term history function. So now is the popular SSA tool. In the SSA, users can retrieve MedDRA ID to register for training classes, to retrieve MedDRA password, to log in MSSO tools, and to retrieve MedDRA unzip password to unzip MedDRA release packages. At the same time, they can also check their business partners' MedDRA subscription status. They can also get links to webinars they registered and get training certificate for face-to-face training classes that they attended. The last but not least is the WebCR change request tool. In this tool, users can submit change requests to MedDRA, to SMQ, and to MedDRA translations. So now I would like to get your input about MSSO tools through two polling questions. So let's go back to our polling. And next one. Okay, so I activated the polling. You should be able to see it. And please click the MSSO tools that you are using, used, or will use. Multiple clicks are allowed. So you can click all of those that you use. Very good. You can see web-based browser is very, very popular. Excellent. All right, so now that we know many of these tools, oh, I see a click on MedDRA mobile browser. Excellent. Oops, that one disappeared. I was hoping somebody would have used the mobile browser. All right, thank you. So the next question I have is more specific. Okay. Please select the most useful function in the MSSO tools. So I have 8 options. So for those of you who are using the phone, you may have to scroll down a little bit to see all the functions, and you can select multiple functions. Multiple selections are permitted. Very good. I see the search is very popular. Hierarchy analysis function is popular. Wow. Excellent. Okay. Very good. All right. So now that we know many of these functions are used by you, and looks like nobody selected something else. So good. Let's go back to our presentation then. So if you selected the functions in the last polling question and you would like to see these functions in your own company tool that you use daily at work, then your answer to the question, do I need MedDRA APIs, is yes. So now API is your best friend. So now next question is then what are APIs? What does API stand for? Does API mean active pharmaceutical ingredient or application programming interface? Most of you probably are familiar with API as active pharmaceutical ingredient. However, the API that we're talking about today is actually the application programming interface. The application programming interface is a virtual, invisible interface where two physically apart software applications can talk to each other. This virtual interface allows one application to say, hey, I need so-and-so. And then the other application to respond, no problem, here you are. So now you are probably staring at your screen and say, what? What are you talking about? So let's use a very well-known restaurant analogy to explain what API is. Okay, so Liz, you might want to mute your phone. I hear some background noise. Okay, so why do we eat in a restaurant? In my humble opinion, two common reasons. First, we like the restaurant's food. Second, no need to cook the meal or clean dishes after the meal. The second reason is probably why restaurants are much busier on Mother's Day than on Father's Day. No offense to daddies. So here is the process that we're all very familiar with. After we arrived at the restaurant, we'll be seated and given the restaurant menu. The waiter would take our order. The waiter then would send our order to the kitchen so that the chef knew which dishes to cook. So when the dishes were ready, the waiter would deliver the dishes to us to enjoy. So in the entire process, we, the customer, never saw the chef, and the chef never saw us. But the chef knew what to cook for us because the waiter got the order from us and delivered it to the chef. And we got our dishes because the waiter took the cooked dishes from the kitchen and delivered it to us. So the waiter is the interface that connects us in the dining room and the chef in the kitchen. So keep the restaurant analogy in mind. Let's take a look at API concept again. So the MedDRA user on the bottom left is like the restaurant customers. Sitting at her home office, she made an order for MedDRA version report between 18.1 and 23.0 in her company tool. So be aware that she used her company tool, but not the MSSO and VAT. Her company tool then called the MedDRA API. The MedDRA API, like the waiter, took the order and sent it to MSSO server on the bottom right. The MSSO server, like the chef, produced the version report. The MedDRA API then took the version report and delivered to user's company tool. The company tool then displayed the version report to the user. The user company tool and the MSO server are far apart from each other physically. The API, like the waiter, provided an interface to connect these two applications so that the user's request through her company tool reached the MSO server, and the version report produced by the MSO server got back to the user's company tool. So let's take a look at another example just to reinforce what we just learned. So in this example, the user again was using her company tool. This time, she made a request to check her business partner's MedDRA subscription. After the user made the request, her company tool called the MedDRA API. The API took the order and sent to MSO server. The MSO server produced a subscription verification report. API took the report, delivered to company tool. The company tool then displayed the report to the user. So here's a question. Who produced the subscription verification report? Is it the user's company tool or the MSO server? So let's go back to the polling one last time. Go to the next one. We didn't need this one, so it's that. Okay. All right, so select who produced the MedDRA subscription verification report. Is it the user company tool, the MSO server, or I don't know? So I think you guys selected, but it's not showing. So let me refresh my screen. Ah, very good. The majority of you selected the MSO server, and that is the correct answer. The fact that the company tool can provide subscription verification function to its users without having to produce the report itself is because the company tool established a communication with the MedDRA API. So now we can answer the question, why use MedDRA APIs? First, because you like or need the functions in the MSO tools. Second, because you want these functions in your company tool where you do your daily work so that you don't need to go to MSO MVAT to get version report, go to MSO self-service application to get MedDRA subscription verification report. And third, because you don't need to ask or beg, in some cases, your company IT team to develop these functions for you in your company tool. You just need to ask them to call the API. So here is the list of MedDRA APIs that are available to users. We have functions to browse MedDRA, search by keywords, get term details, select languages, select versions, verify subscription status. We also have analytical functions that you can plug in your company tool. The SMQ analysis function, the hierarchy analysis function, which is very popular in the polling question, the version report, the data impact report, and term history function. So now, how can my organization use MedDRA APIs? How to make it happen? Now, the key here is to communicate to your IT team. And everything starts with you, the gold star MedDRA user. It takes about 4 steps. First, from the API menu, select the functions that you need for your work. Second, communicate that to your IT team. And third, ask your IT team to follow the MSO API implementation instructions to make calls to API from your company tool. Please ask them to contact the MSO help desk if they have questions. And last, when your IT team is done, use these functions in your company tool. Mission accomplished. So where do I find information about APIs? All information is available on MedDRA.org. So from the home page, open How to Use drop-down menu and select Tools. And from the Tools page, click APIs. Here, you get to the designated MedDRA API page. There is a zip file containing MedDRA API information in the right kiosk. Right here, there's a zip file symbol. Also in the right kiosk, there is a link to the recorded API webinar for IT developers. This link will take you to the training materials page where you can download the recorded webinar, streaming it, or click the MSSO YouTube channel link to watch it there. Okay, so now this concludes my presentation. If you have questions, please enter them in the question pane. And this slide shows various ways you can contact the MSSO and follow us on social media. We have accounts in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We also have chat groups in WeChat for Chinese and in WhatsApp for English, Spanish, French, and Russian. And just make sure you select the right language chat group. And after this webinar, we'll receive all of you will receive a follow-up email with a survey link where you can suggest future webinar topics. And I strongly recommend that you do the survey because we would like to hear from you. Okay, now is time for Q&A. So Liz, do we have any questions?
There are no questions at this time. Oh, one just popped in.
Okay.
When will the API be released or available? And the second question, the API could reach only the MedDRA version from 18 to 23. Is that correct?
Well, let me answer the first question first. The API right now are all the MedDRA APIs are available in beta release phase. Beta release means testing phase. So we give MedDRA user a period of time where their IT team can make these calls and make sure it works with their system before the API becomes in production. So the beta release period is this year till the end of this year. By December 2021, the API will be into the formal production phase. But right now, they're all available for your ITs to try. And the second question says only 18.1 to 23.0. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm not too sure about that. I'll check with our IT team. I believe API should make all MedDRA versions available. Maybe it's because it's in the beta release phase. They only selected certain versions, but I'll check with our IT team about that. So whoever asked that question, Liz, we should have the contact information, right, in the attendance report. I'll get back to you with more specific answer.
That's correct. The next question, could I use the API function within the scope of my normal MedDRA license?
Oh, yes. API is like all the other MSSO tools. They are free to all MedDRA subscribers. It comes with your subscription.
This is a comment. Our IT may not like to use if validation testing is required.
The API, we understand, if I understand that question correctly, the API is unlike all the other MSSO tools. The API, for APIs, we will provide necessary validation documentation, testing and validation documentation so that our users who use MedDRA APIs can be compliant with regulatory requirements for IT tools.
The next question. Can the MedDRA API be used from a commercial web-based database for direct coding during the data entry point?
Absolutely. Yes, it can. It can be used in commercial tools as well. Now, for this one, you need to contact your commercial tool vendor. The vendor who provides that tool, ask them to use MedDRA APIs.
The next question. Could you please point out again the necessity of the APIs or their advantage? Don't they have the same function as the other MedDRA tools?
Yes, they absolutely are the functions of all the other MedDRA tools. Now, the advantage of using API is that you have what we call one-step shopping. So all of these functions you need will be in your company tool, all the tool you use every single day. So you don't have to go to Embed to get version report, go to web-based browser to do SMQ analysis or hierarchy analysis, and then go to self-service tool to check MedDRA or your business partner's MedDRA subscription. With API, all of these functions can be incorporated or plugged into your company tool. You don't have to go anywhere. Just within your company tool, you can do all of that. That's the biggest benefit.
And I'm waiting on more questions.
Okay, I'll give a few seconds for anybody who wants to type in more questions. Excellent. Now we are 2 minutes over, so I think if there's no more questions, I am going to conclude this webinar. I thank you very much for your attention and wish you a good day. Bye.